Everybody, welcome back. These are some jealous sisters that tried to ruin the wedding. My sister and her now ex-husband basically ruined our wedding. This happened a few years back, but I've only just discovered this sub and I thought it might fit in here. There are a couple parts to this and it's hard to know where to start, so I'll just jump in. Just dive right in, honey. Just dive right on in. I'm right here to listen to you. My sister has a photography business and she's a talented photographer with a decent portfolio. So I asked her if she would do our wedding photos. I told her I understood if she just wanted to enjoy the wedding, but it would be really meaningful for her to do them. She goes right into talking price with me, which threw me for a bit of a loop, but I wasn't about to ask her to do it for free. I understand she has a business. Just prior to my asking, she had gifted her services to a couple she was friends with, but told me she was going to charge me for the photos. Kind of hurt my feelings, but I'd already asked and she was going to give me a great deal. Okay, we should never assume that people are gonna do things for free for us, but I can see based on how that worked out with the other couple that you would have assumed. I told her that since money was tight at the time that I wouldn't be able to pay her right away, but we agreed on a date in the future and it was settled. Everything was cool and we didn't really discuss it again until shortly before the big day, and that was just to nail down timing. She was excited and so was I. The day of my wedding comes and she's nowhere to be found. What? So wait, she's your sister and she's working the wedding and she's nowhere to be found? We're calling and texting her, no answer. She finally shows up about an hour late. No apology or explanation offered. Okay, like I know she's your sister, but like highly unprofessional, especially, you're paying her, so irritating, but this is a happy day, so whatever, I move past it. I ask her what the plan is, how do we go about this? She asks me for a shot list, something I've never heard of and she's never mentioned prior to that moment. Yeah, that needs to be discussed prior, and also if you're a photographer, just do it. Get your shit done. She then proceeds to berate me for not having provided it to her, huffing and puffing and essentially having a fit over my lack of preparedness. Interesting coming from someone who shows up an hour late to a job. I try to move past it and I come up with the order of the photos on the fly. Mom here, dad there, so and so grouped for this shot, that one, etc. We got through it with some great family shots that I ended up being really happy with, so no big deal. We got through all the family photos throughout our unexpectedly short ceremony, I'll come back to this, and some nice ones of my new wife and I shortly after the ceremony. It's nice and I'm having the time of my life. Then my sister tells me she needs to leave right before the reception. Okay. She and a friend had plans to camp nearby that day. We were up in the PNW mountains in the middle of the summer, so there were lots of nice places to do this nearby and she needed to go meet them. I was pretty upset about that for a number of reasons. Number one, she's your sister and she's not staying for the rest of your wedding. Number two, she's someone that you hired to be there for your wedding. And honestly, reception photos are like some of the best ones that you can get because everybody hammered, everybody let loose. 1, she's my only older sister and I wanted her to be there. 2, there will now be no photos of the reception or anything after the ceremony. 3, she made plans to go camping on the same day as my wedding. She can't cancel that? What the fuck? Anyways, she takes a plate of food and rushes off, leaving her husband and the rest of us at the wedding. So her husband stayed and she didn't? That's so weird. Some context on this, just prior to the wedding, she and her husband had been having some issues and I was close with him too. So I was talking to them both a lot about what they could do to work it out. But despite everything, she tells me 2 days before my wedding that she's going to ask for a divorce. I asked her to play nice and not to make a thing of it at my wedding, which she's not really having open ears to, saying she's not going to talk to him at the wedding, but that she won't make a scene, as if that's going to be comfortable for me or anyone else. I beg her to please just be normal and not drag their issues onto the day that's supposed to be about my wife and I. She basically shrugs it off. The day before the wedding, she unexpectedly served him with divorce papers. Wow. Oh, you couldn't have waited, could ya? Couldn't have just waited just a day or two. Until after the wedding. As if it couldn't wait a few days or weeks. Crazy selfish, but I can't do anything about it. It's their life. So this drama is definitely clouding the happy day for me and my immediate family. It's a major bummer. Because of their sudden split, she decided, without telling him and for reasons that will become clear later, that they're not coming to the wedding together. I'm not sure why that would have mattered since they both had vehicles, but he was very late and blamed it on his sudden change of plans. This is important because he had a role to play in the ceremony itself. He's a fantastic singer and musician, and I had asked him to perform a song as a part of the ceremony. He and I went over the arrangement together. It was all planned out, timed out, and everything. I could have done it myself, but I just knew he could do it better and I wanted to include him. So I didn't prepare to do it, I left it up to him. When the time for the ceremony came, he was still nowhere to be found, and my sister wasn't saying anything about where he might be. So we ended up making the very, very last minute decision to scrap that part of the ceremony, which took all sorts of sudden and stressful restructuring. He showed up in the middle of the ceremony, and I didn't even notice him come in. Later, he basically said that because my sister left without him, he couldn't make it on time. Oh God. Seriously? Your sister is so selfish, dude. Like, it's almost like she had her own like relationship problems going on and she could not be happy for you in that moment. And it's like she tried to sabotage it. He had his own car, and it was pretty clear to me that he pulled all of that as a stunt to make her feel guilty. Oh. He screwed a part of the ceremony that was really important to me to make her feel bad. He didn't apologize for being late. He blamed it on her. Okay, so they both suck. Got it. Good. Good. They deserve each other, honestly. The ceremony's over and we're on to the reception. My sister was left and her husband's still there. They both put a damper on things in general, and that sucked. But it gets worse. A few weeks after the wedding, my wife is anxiously asking me when we can see the photos. Oh no, she went camping. Oh no, there was rain. Oh no, she ruined them. Oh no. Say it isn't so, no. She's excited, so am I. So I reached out to my sister to ask her if we can see a few. She links me to her business Facebook page where she's already posted them with watermarks without mentioning to us at all that they were available or asking if we were okay with her sharing them. Frustrating, but again, we were just happy to see them and happy to be newly married, so we kind of brush it off. As a few more weeks go by and photos kept popping up here and there on various social media platforms and pages for her personal and professional profiles, we're getting annoyed and anxious, so I ask her again. She tells me that unless I pay her by the end of the week, she's not going to share them with us. Keep in mind that we had agreed upon a specific day to pay, which was still in the distant future. I'm like, what the? But she says that she has a business to run, and if I'm not going to pay her by the end of the week, she'll just delete them and forget she ever took them. Her actual words. Oh my God. Seriously? What is your freaking problem, dude? Sisters, eh? These are the only photos of my wedding. The only ones. Not only did she ask them by showing up late and unprepared, but she also left early and missed the entire reception, and now she's holding them over my head for money. I mean, you're kind of like in a crappy position because, like, yes, you hired her, but like she wasn't there for the agreed upon time, and now she's not giving you the photos?
Dude.
And now she's straight up shaking me down for them. I was in total disbelief. She goes on to talk about how it was a business expense for her to come and take them, and it's wrong for me to expect artists to work for free. A business expense to come to her brother's wedding. I mean, you didn't expect them for free. You said that you would pay her at a later date, right? I'm not an a-hole here. I understand I shouldn't ask for things for free, but if it was the other way around, I would have done it for her without even a question of money. When she got married a few years prior, I called in a favor to hook her up with a DJ and a sound system for free. I provided a bunch of the food and beverages for her reception out of my own pocket, and I recruited my bandmates to help with some of the setup, followed by all of the cleanup. That's another story, but I busted my ass at her wedding, and I was happy to have even the opportunity to contribute to her day. My goodness. Well, that definitely colors the situation, adds a little color. No wonder you were confused as to why she wanted to charge you. It's kind of like if someone asks me to be an MC at their wedding, and if I like charge for public speaking events. I'm sorry, but if they're a close friend, no, I'm not charging them to speak at their wedding. Like, no, give me a break. And it's your own sister, like your family? Oh my God. Anyway, she's telling me she's going to permanently destroy irreplaceable and priceless photos of my wife and I on our wedding day if I don't pay her right away. I was furious, but borrowed the money from my dad to pay her, got the photos, and cut off contact. That was 3 years ago, and she's still going around to folks I know, old bandmates, friends, and acquaintances, and telling them the story from her perspective about how I tried to cheat her to get free wedding photos. Something even more ridiculous about the photos? It was only for $300. Wait, I thought that you were talking about like thousands and thousands of dollars. $300? Whoa, that definitely adds context. Cause like, if that's what she charges for weddings, or she charged you, why are you throwing that hissy fit over $300? That might be a lot of money for some people, but I'm sorry. Wedding photos are usually like thousands of dollars. $300? I'm sure you probably spent that amount of money with her wedding, maybe more. At that time, it was hard for me to come up with it out of nowhere. When I think about it now, that's a pittance to throw away a relationship with your brother over. I know this is insanely long, but remember the friend she was camping with she needed to rush off and meet? The plans that were more important than her brother's wedding? Yeah, that was her boss that she'd been for 3 months. Oh my God. My goodness. He was waiting for her at a nearby campsite he'd set up while she was at the wedding. The reason she was late in the first place was because she'd taken the time to drop him and their camping gear off before she came up to the wedding. Found out later that my teenage sister was the only one who knew my older sister was cheating and had to carry that lie around for months. My sister ended up marrying that guy last year. I wasn't invited. Edit 2. There's something extra worth noting here. My sister and I have an estranged father who was extremely abusive to my mother and who I didn't want to have any information about me or how my life is going now. I had asked her to keep the photos out of public social media and to keep him from knowing. So she's sharing them with the world before my wife and I was a total slap in the face in that regard. Okay. Are you the a-hole? Are you the a-hole? I will say that it's never good to expect anything for free. I personally would not want to to take photos of any of my friends' weddings that I would have been invited to anyway. It's a lot of work to take photos at a wedding. I don't think that people realize how much work it actually is, how much equipment you have to bring. It's stressful because it's if you get anything wrong, if a battery dies, if a card gets full and you don't have extras, you have to go and delete. It's stressful. I am smelly after I shoot weddings, used to shoot weddings. But she did have the opportunity to say no, and she took on the responsibility. So that's her first fault. If she didn't want to be there for you to take photos on your wedding day, then she shouldn't have agreed to it. Then in accepting the job, not showing up on time, terrible. You're missing parts of the wedding that you should be taking photos of. You're leaving the wedding early to go and be with your boss who you're cheating on with, where you're also not getting pictures of the reception. She agreed to wait to get paid and then was now holding them over your head and threatening you. I don't know, man. She kind of sounds like I would have written a scathing review on her business. Sister gives free services to another couple but charges her own brother. Showed up late, went home early. Served divorce papers day of my wedding, making her divorced husband late as he was performing in the wedding. Threatens to delete all evidence of the wedding until I paid her before our agreed due date for services. And if you really want to add fire to the flame, if she's cheating on her husband, she'll probably be late to your wedding and leave early before the reception too. Oh, that's the kicker, yeah. The fact that she was cheating on her husband tells me all I need to know about this person. I don't think you can really trust her to be a good person.
You can't.
All expectation of being a good person goes out the window. In short, don't hire her when her own brother won't even use her again. $300 for half services, and the only thing I get to show for it is my half-taken wedding photos and no contact relationship. OP responds, I did consider this, and my wife really wanted us to post something, but it felt a little bit like bombing for peace, you know? I mean, at the end of the day, you hired her to do a job, and she didn't do it properly. People should know that that's what they're getting themselves into. This is why family and business shouldn't mix, and sometimes sisters are the biggest a-holes you will ever encounter. I honestly could not agree with this statement more. I understand you did all this nice stuff for her, but speaking from experience, involving family and business together is just not a good idea. Number one, it's almost because your family, this goes for friends too, by the way, because your family, people feel like they don't need to work as hard as if it was someone that you hired that wasn't your family or your friend, which is evident in the fact that she showed up late, didn't really care to apologize. She left early, didn't really care to apologize for that either. And furthermore, there is no way in hell that she would do the whole blackmail or I'll delete your photos thing to an actual customer. There's no way. But because you're brother and sister, that somehow it's normal behavior. Your sister is absolutely terrible, but you should never have asked her to be your photographer. That's a move. Being a wedding photographer is a hard and arduous task, and you don't get a moment to enjoy the wedding. That's why you're an employee and not a guest. She did have the option to say no, though, bestie. She did. You basically asked your sister if she'd be okay with being demoted from guest to employee and are annoyed she wouldn't do that for free. So if we're on a certain sub, this would be everyone sucks here. Your sister was atrocious, but so were you. There you go. There are definitely some people who think that this could have been done differently. Not to mention asking her to delay her divorce for his convenience, while putting the husband she wanted to leave in the ceremony itself, which may have been a factor in her not wanting to stay for the ceremony. Oh, that's some tea there. That's some tea. and saying that he didn't expect her to do it for free, but also he was shocked that she wanted money and he didn't have a budget for even a fraction of what a wedding photographer costs. This is what was like very confusing to me. If she charged him $300, I just find that strange that he put up a fuss over $300. Like, it goes both ways. Like, yes, she ruined a relationship over $300, but he also somehow didn't have the money to pay his own sister $300. There certainly wouldn't be very many wedding photographers who would agree to do a wedding for $300. I think the lowest I ever did one for was $650, and that was my first wedding ever. For those of you who think that that's expensive, I'm sorry, but like, it's like a 12-hour day, plus it takes like 30 hours to edit all the photos. Like, at that point, $650 divided by 45 hours, $14 an hour. Okay, that's less than minimum wage in Ontario. As far as holding the photos over his head for money, he wouldn't have gotten any photos for free from a different photographer either. He talks about her not extending generosity to family, but he sure wasn't treating her like a loving brother either in this. Very good point, very good point. Honestly, your sister's being like, she was being but you also didn't behave in a way that was ideal either. Like, I think maybe from her point of view, she doesn't understand how her own brother couldn't afford to pay her $300 for this like long day of work. She also shouldn't have agreed to do it if she wasn't going to do it properly. But I don't know, kind of seems like the sister sucks, the brother also kind of sucks. You let me know what you think though. Happy to hear your opinions. Drama dump. My sister is awful. My sister, 36 female, is my 34 female maid of honor. She created a lot of drama surrounding my wedding. I became engaged in 2021 and immediately started looking at venues. My fiance and I live in a vacation destination in Florida. My sister lives in Nashville. Everyone else invited to the wedding lives in Chicago. Wedding will be in Florida, June 2023, but pre-wedding events will be in Chicago. We chose our venue because my fiance loved it. He hasn't had a lot of opinions or requests, so I couldn't say no. Upon booking my wedding venue, I was nervous because the ceremony room had a max capacity of 100 people. We are inviting 150 people, all from out of state. I guess wait and see who says yes. I mean, it's a destination wedding, so it's quite possible that a lot of people will say no. My backup plan, if we exceeded the 100 people, was to hire entertainment for the kids during the ceremony. My sister, who has the youngest kids, agreed to this idea, but says she doesn't believe we will get close to 100 people. I booked the venue and moved forward with our plans. I even called some parents who are bringing their kids, and they were all comfortable with this idea as well. I then decided to plan a trip home and do a bridal dress fitting with my parents, siblings, and my bridesmaids. My sister decided to use that weekend to have a late birthday party for her son, since the whole family was going to be together. I was excited and welcoming to do both that weekend. My sister then demanded my parents cook and everyone help with the decorations. She invited 200 people. For a kid's birthday party? Like, are you freaking for real right now? Oh my God. What? That's more than your wedding. The party became such a big event, everyone had to cancel on my dress appointment to help her get ready for this party. I went to the dress appointment with 2 friends and ended up crying at how let down I was. I didn't buy a dress that day. I mean, how can you buy a dress if you're crying and not for the right reasons? You know what I mean? Can't even see yourself. You're just sobbing. Tears. So many tears. My sister, out of possible guilt, flew to Florida to go dress shopping, just the 2 of us. When we got to the boutique, she immediately sat on the couch and started scrolling through her phone. I tried to redirect her attention with, check this dress out, or isn't this nice? She gave one-word answers and went back to her phone. Oh, she doesn't like that you're getting married, bestie. I then tried on 4 dresses. One I absolutely loved. It was what I wanted. My sister pointed out my body insecurities and recommended I try on a dress that I felt incredibly uncomfortable in. Oh, absolutely not. What? You said that you liked the dress. That's all that matters. I mentioned I didn't feel good in it, and she got defensive, saying,
you wanted my input and now you don't like it.
Input does not mean insulting people and pointing out all the things wrong with that person, especially if they like the way they look. Read the room, bestie. Months go by, I start going over wedding details, when do I need to fly home for events, and my sister gets pregnant. She tells me that the last 8 months of my wedding planning, she will be unavailable because of pregnancy and a newborn. I understood. I suggest we do an engagement party instead of a bridal shower later when she's unavailable. She agrees. She then dumped all of the responsibilities onto another bridesmaid. My bridesmaid planned the entire event. I promoted her to second maid of honor to show my appreciation. After the engagement party, I made thank you cards to save money. I thought they came out nice and I was really proud of them. My sister made side comments about how they were tacky, and for her wedding, she's gonna hire someone to do that for her. But you made them yourself. Oh God, what is her problem? God, sisters, eh? Can't live with them, can't live without them. Well, I don't have a sister, so I can very clearly live without one, but why are they all just so b***y? Not all of them, but like a lot are very Few months later, she has the baby. She asked me to come and stay with her for 2 months to help her and her husband during this time. Interesting that she now needs help when she refused to offer her help. I work from home, so I agreed, but only for 1 month. I said I needed to be home for Christmas because my fiance is alone. When I arrived, I cooked, cleaned, spent nights in the hospital, drove her kids to school, changed diapers, did laundry. My sister was recovering from surgery and would make comments about how dinner was bland or how I folded the laundry wrong. You do it then! Hire a maid! Her husband was no help. He watched sports all day. My family came down to help the last week I was there. Everyone kept making comments to me whenever I would mention the wedding. As soon as the new year starts, we will be ready to talk about the wedding. Meanwhile, my planner is pushing for me to hire vendors because we have 5-ish months until the wedding. Yeah, she does not like that you're the center of attention, does she? I avoid talking about the wedding until after the new year. We hired dueling pianos to play, and they want us to pick our music early, so the piano players have time to learn the songs they don't know. I asked my sister if she wants to help, and she says,
well, what are the song options?
And I said, we can choose any songs we want. She then tells me to create a list of options for her and she'll choose. I said, if I'm going to do all that, I don't need your help. I just thought it would be fun to do it together. Funny how she expected all of this help for her, but when you ask her for small, simple favors, she refuses. But just like, sometimes I read these and I'm like, do sisters just like hate each other? Like siblings, do they just like hate each other secretly or not so secretly? Because this doesn't seem like it's a secret. I start looking up florists and I ask my sister to help me go through the Pinterest board to lower the volume of photos I send to florists as an inspiration. After seeing them, she says, I'm not sure how to help you. None of the photos are stunning. I tell her that's rude. And she says, what? They're hideous. I'm not allowed to have an opinion. I stop asking for help from her. God, somebody is jealous. Jealous, so jealous. She then starts planning the bachelorette party. Oh, wow, she's doing something great. I tell her multiple times that I want to be involved. She insists that brides are not involved. It's a surprise. I don't like surprises, especially not surprises done by people who secretly hate me. I tell her I'm not interested in a surprise. She doesn't hear me. Then I find out she's planning a bachelorette party in Nashville. My bridesmaids are calling me to tell me they can't afford a trip to Nashville a month before a trip to Florida. I contact my sister and I tell her I want to do the party in Chicago. My sister is in Chicago every other week for work, so it's easiest on everyone. My sister, out of suspected spite, starts planning a party at the worst bar in our hometown. Oh no. God, is she just trying to sabotage everything? My bridesmaids start fighting with her about the location, saying I would hate it. Everyone hates this bar. I call my sister and reiterate that I want to be involved. She demands that I stay out of it. Absolutely not, you bitch! To avoid further drama, I omit that the bridesmaids are telling me what's going on and I tell my sister I want to go to a piano bar since we have dueling pianos at our wedding. It's the perfect way to get everyone excited about the wedding. Also, since we have 2 junior bridesmaids, I'd like to do something with them before we go out. Maybe a potluck at someone's house. She ignores me and continues with her plans. No, she's gonna go there herself and be there by herself. My second maid of honor reaches out to the piano bar and won a free party for the Saturday of the party. My sister then tells everyone she's unavailable Saturday because she has to drive home. We can only do Friday. Now I have to miss work to fly in and it's a huge inconvenience, but I'm trying to keep the peace. My second maid of honor graciously offered to pay for the piano bar for all the girls on Friday to accommodate my sister's schedule. Oh, it's all about the sister, eh? It's just all about the sister and what the sister wants. You would think the sister was getting married with all of these issues. At this point, I don't understand why you're accommodating for someone who doesn't even really want to be there. Let me guess, she canceled. Also, to include the kids and parents in the weekend plans, we have a 10 a.m. paint party Saturday morning. I can't even enjoy Friday fully because I have to be up early with kids and the family the next morning. My sister said to me on accident that she's mad at her husband and might fly to Chicago for the Bachelorette party. I think, oh my God, that would make everyone's life easier. Before I could say anything, she said, oh, but I can't do that. I have plans with my friends in Chicago Saturday night, so I need my car. I finally broke, and I told her how we're moving everything around for her, and now she's staying in Chicago. I tell her I'm upset. The plans aren't really what's best for everyone, but what's best for her. She then blames everything on my bridesmaid, saying, I never said I couldn't do Saturday.
Your second maid of honor is creating lies. I'm your sister. Who are you going to believe?
I have messages between my sister where she told me directly she's unavailable Saturday because she has to drive home. I suggest we move the plans to Saturday then. Since she's now available, she says no because now she has plans. Oh, brother, literally just don't come at this point. Like, why? Why do you even want this person there? Who cares? Some time passes, the drama settles down, we start getting our RSVPs back. We have 108 yes RSVPs, 17 of those are children. We're waiting on 60 more RSVPs and currently have a 90% yes rate. My planner tells me I need to secure the entertainment and sitters for the kids during the ceremony. To clarify, this is in the same building and we were hiring licensed professionals as required by state law. Also, the ceremony is only 20 minutes and the newborn does not have to go since he's a baby. I casually mentioned to my sister that I'm moving forward with the sitters since we are over capacity. She has a full-blown meltdown. Really? Really? I would never expect this from such an individual. She sounds so easygoing, so out of character for her. She called everyone in our family and tells them that I'm a bridezilla and I think she's a bad mom. She calls up some guests with kids who then call me and start saying they are no longer comfortable with this plan. They previously liked the idea. Each person I talk to refused to hear me out. They just plead with me to drop it for now. Things will work themselves out. Meanwhile, my planner is pushing for us to secure something. My fiance and I are losing sleep over the repeated drama with my sister. We decide to move the ceremony. When we start looking, we can't find a single venue close to the reception. Everything is 30 plus minutes away. My parents tell me that an offsite ceremony is too much for an out-of-town wedding. My fiance and I make the judgment call to move our entire wedding to a new venue. We had to pay the full price of the old venue, and the new venue is 3 times more expensive. We had to order and mail new invitations, work with new room blocks, notify all our vendors, and pay additional travel costs to the existing vendors. But I'm happy with this decision because my sister and I are getting along again, and everyone in the family backed off me for my original wedding venue plans. Fast forward to last week, my water heater broke and flooded the apartment, ruined all of my DIY wedding decor. I called my sister up crying. I'm overwhelmed. She offers no support, empathy, or compassion. Then asked me if I will call the second maid of honor to ask about something bachelorette party related because she refuses to communicate with her further. I'm getting stressed out just reading this. Like, thank God it's almost finished. Mind you, my sister is still pushing the narrative that I'm not involved. I ask her to directly to communicate with her because I have a lot going on. She accuses me of siding with the second maid of honor, is now saying she's not going to the wedding. Oh, good. So, oh no! Oh no! No. Please come to the wedding. You're just such a joy to read about and have in my presence. God damn it. Please, go away. Good. Literally good. Wow. This is so awful that even my usually b***ness is failing me. Why are you still trying with your sister? She's clearly against you in every possible way. Drop contact with her before she sabotages your whole wedding, maybe? OP responds, I want to go no contact, but when I've done that in the past, I lose contact with my whole family. She has the grandbaby, so my parents prioritize her over me. I should revisit this idea, though, or look for healthier ways to stop expecting her to change. Or just don't expect her to do anything ever. Do not lean on her for anything. Do not ask for her opinion. Do not ask her for help. Consider yourselves acquaintances because anyone, family, friend, partner, anyone who causes this amount of, like, I'm stressed out just reading. Like, I'm so glad that this story is over because I was stressed out reading that whole thing. Anyone that causes this much stress for you does not belong in your life. Don't get me wrong. You're my sister, you're my brother, you're my good friend, you're my family, you're my spouse, whatever. I'm here for you if things go wrong. But if you are a constant source of stress in my life, I don't need you. Don't have to go no contact, but low contact is your best friend. Subscribe!